So you said beforehand that you thought it might be quite tough. Was it as tough as you expected?
Yeah, I mean, it was an extremely bad day for us, wasn't it? It's not a nice feeling, that's for sure. You know, it's yeah, you feel pretty helpless at times. You know, standing there. Obviously, we need to, I think, to make an apology to the supporters that travelled down. I mean, it's not nice when you're getting hammered like that. I think that we lost the game in the first 20-25 minutes. You know, we were 3-0 down after 20 minutes, I think it was. It might have been 4-0 down after half an hour. You know, you're not going to, you know, that's the game finished. And it was obviously dreadful conditions. You know, we couldn't really kick the ball out of our own half. And, you know, I think in that first half there, it was men against boys, really. You know, and we were struggling. We were struggling. I think when we sort of went a couple down, I was just thinking if we could try and get in maybe 2-0 down at half time, you know, with the wind in the second half against our you know, with us, you know, we might be able to make a bit of a game of it. But the game was dead and buried after the first half, and I just said to the players at half time, look, just keep going, just try. You know, you sort of worried as a manager that it could end up something stupid like 10 or 11, you know, which should never happen at this level. And then obviously the second half, the score was 2-2, you know, and I think it probably could have been about 6-6 second half. You know, they could have scored about 6, we could have scored about 6. You know, it was one of those, but we lost the game in the first 20-odd minutes. But, you know, I mean, it hurts, of course it does, you know, and, you know, inside, it, you know, it's very, very, you know, it does hurt, but there's no point going in at half-time and going mental at the lads. The game's finished. What you've got to try and do is just try and keep them going, which I thought we did. But I think it shows, you know, today the difference in the size of the clubs, you know, and we usually compete, we're usually competitive, but, you know, the difference between, you know, with Torquay United and Oxford City is like night and day. You know, I mean, they've got more stewards than we've got players, you know, and that is the thing, and we can't keep getting away with it. You know, the last 3 or 4 weeks we've been down to the bare bones. You know, we're using young players from our academy. You know, I've got 2 players from our academy starting. You know, I've got another 3 on the bench, and you're just not going to keep getting away with it. And as much as I want to sort of give opportunities to players, you know, we've also got to try and win games of football, and we're not doing that at the moment. We're very, very stretched. I think myself and Justin and you know, we've got to try and, you know, just bring 3 or 4 players in this. I know I keep saying that, and I know, you know, that we have, you know, had players lined up, but just for one reason or another hasn't come off. But we didn't get away with it today. It was like men against boys, you know, and all you can do on a day like this is just sort of take your medicine, apologise to the supporters that we haven't managed to make a game of it. Say make a game of it. We kept going second half, and I think we could have easily got, you know, a couple of more goals ourselves, but so could they. And it's, you know, it's not a nice feeling to get beat 7-2, and yeah, gutted really.
The conditions were pretty appalling, and it was difficult. It was difficult for both sides, I get that, but the weather conditions were pretty foul. But Torquay seemed to kind of know that there were different ways at their set pieces that they could deal with those conditions. Did that kind of catch you out?
Yeah, I mean, I think, was it the 4th goal that went straight in from a corner, wasn't it? I mean, it's just gone flying in at the back post on the wind there, you know. I know it sounds a bit silly, but you're just sort of hoping on a day like this that you can perhaps win the toss, you know, first up, you know, and, you know, maybe have that wind with us. You know, they obviously did and attacked it and got us on the back foot. I don't think, you know, we played a slightly different shape today. We tried to play with a diamond in midfield and went with 2 up front. I don't really think we've been getting much quality from the wide areas, and I don't think the goals were anything to do with the shape at all. I mean, the first one is just a ball that Craig King kicks out there, centre half comes through and heads it, and then young Tom Carter sort of gets done for a bit of pace, and then we're not really following up the rebound. The second one's far too easy. Their centre half turns in the box, clips it to the far post. We've got 2 players there that don't win the header, their player wins it, and then it's like a tap in. Third goal, oh, crikey, to be honest, there's that many goals going in against us. I'm now struggling to remember. You know, I didn't think. You know, funny enough, I thought he was actually sort of playing some quite nice stuff at times. But you can't defend like that. You know, coming to a place like this. You know, it was like men against boys, as I keep saying. It's a baptism of fire for people like Tom Carter. I mean, you know, he's up against 2 Football League centre forwards there. You know, and he's a young kid that, you know, that we're trying to develop. But we've had to throw him in today because obviously Eddie Jones, you know, unfortunately was made unavailable yesterday. But we haven't got, you know, we you know, some of the players weren't good enough today. I think we got found out. You know, it was a club that should probably be playing in the National League, you know, at the very least, against a club that's probably doing quite well to punch their weight at this level, you know, and that is the difference. And you can't, you know, and that was shown up. That was very much highlighted today.
So where do the answers come from?
Well, you know, we can't suddenly sort of turn Oxford City into Torquay, can we? You know, overnight. I mean, you know, we just got to keep doing the best we can. You know, you have to accept that there's sometimes going to be days like this. It pains me to say it because I'm hurting inside, and all of the players are. But you know, I'm trying to be sort of slightly more sort of. You know, what's the word I'm looking for? Slightly sort of more balanced in what I'm trying to say. You know, I'm obviously deep down fuming and absolutely gutted, but you know, I thought that we might be in trouble, as you said before. You can't come to places like this with the type of squad that we've had out today, and I don't mean to that to be sort of trying to place all of the blame on the players, because I still don't think some of the senior players stepped up today, particularly first half. So it's not an excuse, but you know, we're playing like Kyron Wiltshire is not a left back. We're trying to play him there today. Literally, Ryan Case has been in training with us for a couple of weeks. You know, so far he's played left back, right back. We stuck him at centre half. You know, Tom Carter. You know, it's just a baptism of fire for him. You know, we got players sort of like and. You know, and then we look round at the bench, and with the greatest respect to the lads there, obviously we've got Bobson, who's got some decent experience, but then we've got, you know, other academy lads, and unfortunately you just can't keep getting away with it. And but we got to look for players this week. You know I keep saying it, but we've got to. Well, I think we've just got to bring 3 or 4 in. Hopefully, try and get some people with a bit of experience, but it isn't easy. You know, at this time of year. You know, within the budget that we've got. But it's incredibly frustrating because we've gone from a situation where we were looking good just before Christmas. Everything was sort of going quite well. We were climbing up that table nicely, but now we seem to be going the other way. I mean, that's 4 defeats on the spin in the league. I said to the players in there, I think we can forget about the playoffs now. I mean, let's be realistic. Let's not sort of, you know, be sort of. You know, what I just said in there, like blue sky thinking. You know, we've got to make sure now that we go week to week. We try and win as many games as we can. See what we can do from now on to the end of the season. I'm looking at players, looking at whether they can really take us forward. Some of them today, watching them, I think got found out. You know, up against a very strong sort of athletic, you know, obviously professional side. You know, Torquay full time. You know. Obviously we're not. We've only managed to do 1 training session this week because Tuesday we got snowed off. You know, and that's the difference. You know, they looked like they had more desire. They looked more organised. They looked sort of hungrier for it, and they just blew us away there in the first sort of half of the game. And I was pleased that we kept going. The lads didn't jack it in, and so the first half, second half, we, you know, is a draw 2-2, but very disappointing. And again, I would like to thank the supporters for coming down and cheering us on. I know some people have come down and made a weekend of it, and we haven't really sort of done them proud today, and that hurts me to say. The boys are hurting in there, but it's a harsh sort of lesson for us to take today. 2
final questions. One, Zach McEachran pulled up short again, struggling a little bit with his leg. What's the situation there?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's a strange one because it seems to sort of come and go. He's all right 1 minute and then feels it the next, then comes back again. But obviously something not quite right there. I think structurally the knee is sound from the scans we've had, but perhaps Zach needs to keep working on building up the strengthening around it, building his quads up, making sure he's protecting it as much as he can. I actually thought Zach McEachran was probably one of our shining lights today. I actually thought that if you sort of he was one of the players I thought that probably wouldn't look out of place in their team, you know, and I can't think of many other players in the Oxford City shirt today that perhaps, you know, did themselves much justice, really, to be honest with you. Then to get a result at a place like this, you're going to need all 11 of your players to be bang on their game. Well, we certainly didn't have that today.
The final question from me, just looking ahead to next weekend. I mean, how do you regroup? How do you get these guys back on in the right mind frame?
Yeah, well, I think, you know, you've got to try and keep encouraging them. Footballers are quite robust people, you know, normally. You know, I think, you know, you got to get over these types of things. I said to the players in there, if you keep trying to overanalyse that game and keep replaying it in your head, you're just going to end up just sort of like killing yourself. You know, it's one of those that, you know, I'll be replaying it in my mind. Of course I will. It's hard to switch off. You can't switch off. You know, it's a horrible feeling, and you know, it's not nice, but we've got to get over it. You've got no choice. We've got 15 league games to play. We've got another tough game against Woking, you know, another team flying high, another club that, you know, have got all of the support behind them, and you know, that type of thing. So, but we'll get over it. You know, we have to take our medicine. We have to congratulate Torquay. We have to wish them all the best for the rest of the season. They've got obviously a very experienced manager, Football League manager, that's got promotions and things under his belt, and they've got everything set up here to try and get out of this league. And today, you know, we've come up very, very short, but, you know, without wishing to sort of sound dismissive of the result, is it that much of a surprise? I mean, yes, of course it's a surprise to get beat by 7, but I think, you know, looking at the group that we had available today, and looking at the, you know, the size of the clubs trying to compete against each other, it's not surprising that we got beat today. But obviously the scoreline is very disappointing for us.
Thank you.